So, assalamu alaikum, SpaandanB donors, well-wishers, and all the viewers. I'm Syed Hossainy on behalf of SpaandanB Executive Committee. Very welcome. Today, we are in this segment, we are talking about TraumaLink. TraumaLink is a nonprofit organization which provides instant, real-time medical care to the roadside assistance to the roadside accident victims in Bangladesh. And I don't have to tell you how consequential and transformative that concept is in the context of Bangladesh. So it's a great opportunity for us to have the TraumaLink leadership and its founder. We have ARUP SAHA, we have MRIDUL CHOWDHURY, and the founder himself, JON MOUSSALLY, in our midst here. And without further ado, I would go off and maybe ask John a quick question about your, what was the, I mean, if you can break down a little bit for us about the TraumaLink, its modus operandi, and what was the inspiration behind this sort of life-altering concept in the context of Bangladesh.
Sure. Well, thanks so much for inviting us to join you. I traveled to Bangladesh for the first time in January of 2013. And during that trip, I was lucky enough to meet MRIDUL, who was also very interested in road safety. So we started putting our heads together on how to create a community-based program that could provide post-crash care. And we spoke with multiple Bangladeshi organizations involved in road safety and volunteerism. We spoke with academic researchers, local community members, police, fire services, hospital staff. And we used all of that information that we gathered to create a model that would be appropriate for the Bangladeshi context. And what we came up with was a model in which we recruit and train local volunteers in basic trauma first aid and mass casualty triage. We provide them with first aid supplies that we keep in locations that are accessible 24 hours a day. And we set up a call center that's available through a dedicated emergency hotline number. So when somebody calls the service, the operator will first collect information on where the crash occurred and also how many patients have been injured. And as soon as that information is entered into our graphic user interface, there's an embedded algorithm that automatically dispatches the volunteers based on their proximity to the crash scene by sending text messages to their mobile phones. So they'll collect the first aid supplies on their way to the crash scene. And once they've treated the patients, the operators will provide guidance on the nearest appropriate hospital based on the severity of that patient's injuries. And we don't use ambulances for this service. We tap into local transportation networks that include fire services, police, local bystanders, and vehicles for hire as we need them. And we've managed to find transportation for every patient that's needed it based on those local networks. So since we launched the service at the end of 2014, we've responded now to almost 2,500 crashes, and we've never missed a call. So we feel extremely proud of the volunteers and this heroic work that they're doing, and we're very appreciative to SpaandanB for all of the support that you've given us over these last couple of years.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for clarifying it for us, John. And so as you alluded to this, John, that SpaandanB has the unique opportunity to be a funding partner, and thanks to its generous donors, it would be really helpful if one of you can expand a little bit on how the SpaandanB funding has impacted what you do on the ground, how it shaped your project on the ground. Was it helpful in expanding in any scope or reach in any ways? It'll be really helpful for the donors and viewers to hear about that.
I would like to share something regarding this, and thank you very much for inviting us today. And for a bit information, we are working on 3 major highways in our country, and one of the busiest highway on Dhaka-Chittagong highway. You know very well, lots of incidents happen on Dhaka-Chittagong highway every day. So for your bit information, before SpaandanB fund, we are running only 80 kilometers. After getting fund from SpaandanB, we are running now 135 kilometers. And so a number of kilometers we have been increasing day by day. And other thing is that, the community trust. We are working with community very closely, and we need to involve them very much with our work. Without SpawndanB support, it was totally impossible for us to involve many people in this program. And also I'm thankful to SpawndanB and all donors. Because of that, we are making a positive change in the community right now. Our volunteers are not helping people, they are not treating people only in the road crash program. They are also trying to help people in another work, just like helping people if they feel any trouble. And for a betting portion, now our volunteers believe that it should be our duty to help other people in their troubles. So another thing I would like to share that, before getting training and after getting training, it's a huge gap. After getting training, our volunteers, they're confident enough to treat the patients. Without SpawndanB support, we cannot run in this way. We started our journey from Kachpur beside Dhaka city, and we are moving forward to reach Chittagong city.
And if I could add to that a little bit, so essentially, from the very beginning, as John was saying, our goal has always been to kind of create a model that the government will at one point take over, because this is something that we expect the government to kind of scale up and kind of sustain. But in order to do that, we have been advocating for a long time with WHO, with the government, with the relevant authorities within the government, with the Ministry of Health, within the World Bank system, and so on. So where the SpawndanB, donation has really had an impact in is when we have expanded, the donors, the government, the WHO, and other organizations have really seen that, even in an expanded phase, the model still holds. Like, it's not a model that holds just in a particular segment, but even if you scale it up, the model still holds. So that's a very important aspect when you have to get donors and when you have to get governments and WHO-like organizations to buy into this model.
So thank you very much, all of you, MRIDUL and ARUP and John. And I'm sure it's very, very uplifting and satisfying for our viewers and for the SpawndanB donors to hear that how the funding that they have provided through SpawndanB, obviously SpawndanB facilitated or channeled that funding to TraumaLink, and that has made this kind of impact for you guys to shape your future. And as MRIDUL was pointing out, this is the right segue to the sort of the next question and the last question in a way, that given everything that you guys have achieved and what has happened on the ground, what is your sort of the grander vision?
Thank you for that question, Fayaz bhai. As I was saying that, from day one, the ambition of TraumaLink has been to kind of demonstrate a model that the government can take up. And we have always wanted that the government will take it up one day, and that TraumaLink will be an implementation partner or an advisor or a technical partner or be involved in that national scale up in some capacity. So that has always been the dream that John and I sort of started this with. And that dream, I'm very happy to report, is finally coming true. Very recently, WHO has been keeping a very keen eye. For about 2-3 years, we've been advocating with WHO, and very recently they have come to us and they said that they have been able to gather some funds where they can help us pilot our model with the government. Basically, there's an institute within the Ministry of Health called NCDC, the National Communication Non-Communicable Disease Department or something, which is responsible for road crashes and then response to road crashes. So that department and TraumaLink are now jointly undertaking this pilot somewhere close to Dhaka with a little bit of funding from WHO.
If I could also add, something, which is that another thing that's so exciting about this WHO partnership is that all the way back in 2005, they had called for a volunteer first responder model for providing post-crash management in developing countries. And nobody has really been able to put forward a model like that that has been successful and consistent in the way that this model has. So we're very hopeful that by demonstrating the utility of the model in Bangladesh with the assistance of WHO, that Bangladesh can then serve as a model for other developing countries. There are 5 billion people in the world that don't have any access to emergency services. So our hope is that we can prove the model in Bangladesh, and then that acts as a model for other developing countries all over the world. So it's extremely exciting that we have been able to partner with the WHO, especially with the very strong support of the government. It makes us feel very optimistic about our future.
Thank you so much, MRIDUL and John, for going over this, and congratulations on the program expansion and the government involvement and all of that. Listen, on behalf of SpaandanB and donors, again, we are very appreciative of the work that you're doing. Our deepest gratitude for each lives that you have saved, and the world around those lives that reclaimed and rehabilitated. There is no word can define and describe that aspect of it. So continue your work, and from SpaandanB side and its donor pool, I'm sure they will agree that we'll look forward to many more of collaboration and productive engagement with you.